I'm sure you've heard the news. America is pulling the plug on critical sea ice data. It's a headline that sent shockwaves through the scientific community, environmental groups, and even industries that rely on accurate climate information. But what does it really mean when a country as influential as the United States decides to restrict access to something as vital as sea ice data? This isn't just a technical change or a bureaucratic shuffle, it's a decision with global consequences, and it's left many people asking, why now, and what happens next? Scientists are calling it a disaster. For decades, they've depended on this data to monitor the health of our planet, to predict dangerous weather, and to warn us about the impacts of climate change. Now, with the sudden loss of real-time updates, researchers are scrambling to figure out how to fill the gap. Some are worried that years of progress in understanding our changing world could be undone almost overnight. Others fear that without this data, we'll be flying blind into an uncertain future. But why should you care? Let's break it down. Even if you don't live near the Arctic or Antarctic, the fate of sea ice affects everyone on Earth. The data that's being cut off isn't just for scientists in lab coats. It's information that shapes weather forecasts, disaster planning, and even the price of food at your local grocery store. When we lose access to this data, we all lose a crucial tool for understanding and protecting our world. Sea ice isn't just frozen water, it's Earth's early warning system for climate change. These vast, shimmering expanses of ice act like a giant mirror, reflecting sunlight back into space and helping to regulate the planet's temperature. When sea ice melts, it's one of the first and most visible signs that our climate is changing. Scientists watch these changes closely, because they can signal bigger problems on the horizon, like rising sea levels, shifting weather patterns, and threats to wildlife. Those sprawling white sheets at the poles reflect sunlight and help keep our planet cool. When they shrink, more sunlight gets absorbed by the dark ocean water, which heats up even faster. This creates a feedback loop. Less ice means more heat, and more heat means even less ice. It's a cycle that accelerates global warming and makes it harder to slow down climate change. The loss of sea ice doesn't just affect polar bears and penguins, it affects the entire planet, from the equator to the poles. Lose that ice, and the ocean soaks up more heat, speeding up global warming, crazier weather, and rising seas. We're already seeing the effects: stronger hurricanes, more intense heat waves, and coastal cities facing floods that used to happen once a century. The data from US satellites has been a key tool in tracking these changes, helping communities prepare for disasters and adapt to a rapidly changing world. Without it, we're left guessing about what's coming next. For decades, US satellites have tracked Arctic and Antarctic ice in real time, giving scientists, weather forecasters, and even shipping companies vital info. This data isn't just for academic research. It's used by governments to plan for emergencies, by businesses to chart safe shipping routes, and by indigenous communities who depend on the ice for their way of life. The US has been a leader in making this information freely available to the world, setting a standard for open science and international cooperation. But now, the US is cutting off access. No more real-time updates, no more open data. The decision has left researchers around the world scrambling to find alternatives, and many are worried that the gap in information could last for years. Some fear that this move could set a dangerous precedent, encouraging other countries to keep their climate data secret as well. The result? A world where vital information is locked away, just when we need it most. Experts warn this will leave a dangerous blind spot, making it harder to track climate change or respond to disasters. Imagine trying to predict a hurricane without up-to-date satellite images, or planning for sea level rise without knowing how fast the ice is melting. Emergency responders, city planners, and even farmers rely on this data to make decisions that affect millions of lives. Without it, we're all more vulnerable to the impacts of a warming world. And it's not just a science problem. The loss of open sea ice data threatens international cooperation on climate change. For years, countries have shared information freely, working together to understand and solve global problems. But when one country pulls back, it can trigger a domino effect. Others may follow suit, leading to a world where everyone is working in isolation. That makes it much harder to coordinate action, share solutions, or hold polluters accountable. Without this data, international cooperation gets shakier. Countries might start hoarding climate info, making global solutions even harder. Trust between nations is built on transparency and shared knowledge. When that trust is broken, it becomes easier for misinformation to spread, for bad actors to hide their emissions, and for progress on climate action to stall. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the world is watching to see what happens next. While other nations are scrambling to fill the gap, it could take years and billions of dollars to catch up. Building and launching new satellites isn't easy or cheap. In the meantime, critical data will be missing, and our understanding of the planet's most vulnerable regions will suffer. Some countries are already working on their own solutions, but the loss of US leadership in this area is a setback for everyone. The world needs more data, not less, if we're going to tackle the climate crisis together. So, should climate data be kept secret, or should everyone have the right to know what's happening to our planet? This isn't just a question for scientists or politicians, it's a question for all of us. Open data empowers people to make informed decisions, to hold leaders accountable, and to demand action on the issues that matter most. When information is hidden, it's harder to solve problems, harder to build trust, and harder to create a better future. So, what do you think? Should the US keep this data private, or should it be open for everyone to see? Let us know in the comments below. And if you care about the future of our planet, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. The more people know about what's at stake, the better chance we have of making a difference. Together.